Hello guys, welcome to the fourth and final part of our admin dashboard project. And in this fourth and final part, we are going to create the last section that we have right under here, which is a container. And we are also going to create our JavaScript. We're going to add some JavaScript code so we'll be able to toggle the sidebar like this and also open our model with JavaScript. And also we're going to add our media queries to make the website responsive. As you can see right here, this is responsive, but our own dashboard is not yet responsive right now. So let's go ahead and get started. Don't forget to like and subscribe, as it really means the world to me. So the first thing we're going to do over here is to create a div for the table and give it a class. And the class here is going to be order. And right inside it, we're going to have a div, and the class is going to be card header, which is a class we already created in CSS. Then inside our card header, we're going to have a span, and we're going to have a history tag inside it. This history tag is going to have a class. Let's call the history tag class card head text. We already have the class, and right inside here our text is going to be top performance. Then we're going to have a p tag, which is a paragraph tag, and for the paragraph tag, the class here is going to be card description, which is another class we already have. And the text right in here is going to be best employees. Then after that, we're going to create another span right after this one, and this one is going to have a class. The class here is going to be card icon container. Then inside it, we're going to have our two icons that we've already created previously. The first one is going to be the filter icon. Let's create the search first. Let's say FAS search, and you can just duplicate this and change this to filter to get the filter icon. Now let's see what that looks like. As you can see, we have what we already created right down here, and it's beginning to look like what we have here. This is what we're trying to create, this last table. So next, we're going to create the table itself. We are done with the header. To create the table, we need to make sure we're inside this other div and create a table tag. This table tag is going to have a t-head tag. This t-head tag is going to be the container that holds the head text in every column. It's going to hold assigned, project, priority, and budget. So right inside it, we're going to create our th. We're going to create a th tag right inside here, and the text here we have assigned, project, priority. Let's type in assigned, and let's paste this 3 more times. Next, we're going to have project. This is going to be project. Then we're going to have priority and budget. This is going to be priority. And lastly, we're going to have budget. Next, we're going to create the columns. These columns right here that holds the user image, the name, the job, and the priority, and also the budget amount. So to create that, we just need to get outside the head, the head tag, and let's create a body tag. This body tag is going to have a tier tag right inside it, and a td tag. So right inside this one, I'm going to create our image, and for the image, I'm going to use an image I already have. You can use any image you have. So I'm going to create a span right under the image to hold the name and the job. So for the job, we need a p tag, and it's going to have a class. The class here is going to be employee, let's call it employee name. And this span is also going to have a class, and the class in this span is going to be employee details. And next we're going to have our second tag, which is also going to be a p tag. The name here, the class is going to be employee job. So for the name, let's type in Steve. This is going to be Steve Jacobs. And for the job, we're going to use mobile developer. And Next, let's see what we have. We have the project, which is web design, priority, completed, and the budget. So to create that, we just need to get right outside this td tag and create another td tag. It's going to have a class, and the class here is going to be project name, and the text right in here is going to be web design. Let's copy and paste this 2 more times, and the second text right here is going to be completed, and we're also going to change the class. Let's remove this. We need a different class. The class here is going to be status, which is what we've already created in part 1 of our video, and the second class is going to be completed. Now let's see what that looks like. As you can see, this is it right down here. It's just what we want. Next, let's create, we need a span in there. If you notice, this does not look like what we have right here. It's because we need a span for the text. So what we're going to do is delete this text. Let's cut and copy it and paste it right inside there, and we're going to remove this class, add the class to the span instead, and that should fix it. We're also going to do the same for this second one. So delete this class, create a span right in here. Let's start from the text, delete the text, create a span right in here, paste the text inside it, and add the class to the span instead of a td tag. So remove this and add the class to the span, and that should fix it. As you can see, that looks much more better. So now we're going to change the text we have right inside here. So the text we need here is going to be, let's use 9. Let's see what we have right there. We have $9,000. So just type in 9. Let's add our $sign first. 9. Okay, and that should do it. That is just what we want. Now let's see what we have right here. It seems we're already done with the table. All we have to do right now is copy and paste and then change this around. But we need a class. We need to make sure this class is available in HTML, in CSS to avoid errors. If it's not available, that means we have to add it before our text can look like what we have right here. So what we're going to do now is duplicate our tables. So we're going to copy the tr tag, copy this tr tag and paste it. Let's see how many of them we have. We have 1, 2, 3, 4 more. So just paste 1, 2, 3, 4, and that should do it. Now it's beginning to look like what we want. What we have to do now is change this around. So the second one, let's find the second one. This is it. I'm going to change the image to image 2, and the name is going to become, okay, all the names are the same. We don't have to change anything there. What we have to do is change the job. So the job here is going to become web designer, and let's see what we have next. The project here is for the editing. This does not match, but it doesn't really matter. It does not have to be exactly the same. The project does not match the user job, but that is not a problem. So next we're going to change the priority. So the priority here is going to be pending. Let's see, it's pending, and we're going to change this from completed. Here we're going to have pending, and the amount here is $10,000. Actually it's 10.9,000. So just type in 10 points right there, and that should do it. Let's see. As you can see, that is beginning to look like what we want. Now for the third one, I'm going to change the image to image 3, and the name here is still Steve Jacobs, and the job is data analyst. So let's delete this and change it to data analyst. Then the project is going to be graphic design. So remove web and change it to graphic. Then next we're going to change the priority to process. Here we're going to have process, and this is going to become process. Let's make sure that works. As you can see, it works. Then let's change the third one. The amount here is going to be $3,000. So change that to, this is going to be $3,000, not the second one. Then let's use 3.9. That is what we have there. This is also going to be 3.9, and the image here is going to be image 4. And the job, let's see the job. The job is going to be front end design. So here we're going to have front end design. And next we're going to change the job right here. This is the project and this is the job. So for the job here, let's see, we're going to have UI UX designer, UI slash UX designer, and the priority is going to be process. Now let's change the class to process. Then the amount is the same. Let's change the last one. The last one here, we're going to have web designer for the job. This is going to be web, and here we're going to have designer. Then after that, the project is going to be material pro. Change this to material pro, and the priority is going to be pending. Then let's see what you have next. The amount is going to be 3.9 thousand. Let's also change the class right here to pending to avoid mistakes. Now let's see what that looks like. As you can see, this now looks identical to what we have right here. It looks beautiful. I think we need to change the image. We have one more image to change. Let's change this to image 5, and that should do it. That's just what we want. Now let's go ahead and add our JavaScript. If you notice right here, we have a feature that changes the active link whenever we click on another link. Now let's go ahead and add that to our project. To do that, we just need to head over to JavaScript, and right here in JavaScript, we're going to target the side menu. Let's type in const and side menu, and what we're going to have next to target is document dot query selector all. We're going to target all the links. This is how we target all of them and not just one. I'm going to say query selector all. If you're trying to target one link, you use query selector, but if you're trying to target all the links, you use query selector all. So what we're going to do is in here we're going to type in our classes. We're going to say dot sidebar dot side menu, and next we're going to have dot dog, and we're going to say lia. We're targeting the li and a tag to add the active color and feature to them. So in here we're going to have side. This is actually, let's use it like this. We don't have to change it. Let's say side menu dot for each. Now we're targeting the whole links. We're going to say item. Now the name for the whole links is going to become item, and we're going to say, let's use our arrow function right here. This is actually not an arrow function. That's a mistake. Here we're going to use const li. So let's see what we have. So for the links to target the whole li tag, we're going to say const li is equal to item dot parent element. This means that when we say item.parent element, we're trying to target the parent element of this a tag, which is an list tag, which is a list tag right here in HTML. If you search for side menu, let's search for side menu, you'll notice that inside the li tag, this is our a tag, and the parent of the anchor tag is the li. So that is what we're targeting right here when we say item.parent element. So let's go ahead and continue. This looks like a mistake. This right here, let's remove this and correct the mistake with the for each. In the for each, we have a little mistake, and the mistake, we need to create this arrow right in here, and that should fix it. So next, we're going to add an event listener to the items. Let's say item dot add event listener, and the event is going to be click. So we're going to say comma, and we're going to add a function right here. So next we're going to say side menu dot for each I, and we're going to use another arrow right here. This is supposed to be a double bracket, so we're going to have our I right in there, Then let's add our arrow. Then right here we're going to add i.parent element, and dot class list dot remove active. Then next we're going to, let's see what we have right here. We're going to add the active feature to the li tag. To do that, we just need to type in li.classList.add, and we're going to type in the class active right here, and that should do it. As you can see, that works. That is just what we want for the active feature. And next, let's go ahead and toggle this. Let's toggle the search bar first. Let's add this feature to toggle the search bar. To do that, we just need to get down here in our JavaScript, and we're going to define the classes. To define the classes, we're going to target the form main first. Let's say const, and we're going to say form. This is going to be form container is equal to document dot query selector, and here we're going to have form main. Then after that, we're going to target the input container. Let's say const input container. Then we're going to say equal to document dot query selector. We're going to have our dot form input container. Make sure these classes are available in your HTML, because if they are not available, there is going to be an error. And next, we're going to target our search button, which is the button right here. So let's say search btn, and we're going to get the class by typing in document dot query selector, and the class was dot nav search btn. Let's make sure this class is available in HTML. Let's just copy this and search for it in the search bar. Use Ctrl F, and this search bar will appear. Paste it right here and search for it, and this is our button right here. So next, we're going to add the modal close button, which is the close button right here. So to do that, just type in const, and we're going to have modal close btn is equal to document dot query selector, and we're going to have, for the class, what we need is modal close btn. So in here, we're going to add the event listener for the search button. So whenever we click on the button, it will be able to toggle the search modal. So just type in search btn dot add event listener, and the event listener is going to be click. So let's use our arrow function right here. Then inside the function, we're going to set form display, which is a function we've not yet created. We're going to create it after we are done with the event listener. So now we're going to add document dot body dot style dot overflow y, and it's going to be hidden. What this line means is that whenever we toggle the search modal, it will not be possible to scroll right here, as you can see. But whenever we close it, it will be possible to scroll once more. And to scroll, we are going to add the scroll function on the close button. So let's go ahead and continue. So next, we're going to create the form display function we just had right here. To be able to toggle the search form, we need to create the function. So create a function, and the name is going to be form. This is going to be form display, and right inside the function, we're going to toggle our search modal. So we're going to say form container dot class list dot add, and we're going to add our class here that says show form. What this means is that right now our modal is invisible because we added a top of minus 300 VH. But whenever we click on this, the top is going to become 0 VH, and the modal is going to appear right here, as you can see. But there seems to be a mistake. let's search for our model and fix the mistake. So what we have to do right now is, let's search for, we're going to search for let's search for form input, and this is the problem right here. We added a top of 450 px, change the top back to 50 px, and that should fix it. As you can see, that is much more better. But now the problem is that it's not possible to close our model yet. Now to close the model, all we have to do is go back to JavaScript and create our close function. So what I'm going to do is type in model btn, model close btn dot add event listener, and event listener here is going to be click. This is going to be click. That's the first step. That's going to cause an error. So let's create our arrow function right here, and inside here in the brackets we're going to have a text which is going to be event. Now let's add the arrow. Then inside the arrow function we're going to add event dot stop propagation. What this means that whenever we click on the close modal button, other events will not be triggered. So let's use a conditional statement to close the search modal. So we're going to say if form container dot class list dot contains show form. What this means is that if the search modal is open, then we're going to add a function that says close modal, and we're going to create the function later when we are done with this event listener. So to create the function now, we just need to create another function. Let's push this down, create another function, and the name of this function is going to be close modal. And inside the function, right in here for the function, we're going to have form container dot class list dot remove, and here we're going to have show. We need a string, and we're going to have show form. What this means is that whenever we click on this button, the show form class will be removed from the form container and it will become invisible. So let's see what that looks like. As you can see, that works perfectly. But now we want to be able to close the form container by clicking on the window right here. And as you can see, our blur feature is not in this search modal. So what I'm going to do is look for it. This is the problem. We added background instead of backdrop. So we'll change this to backdrop, and that should fix it. As you can see, the blur feature is now there. So to close the modal by clicking on the background, all we have to do is add some event listener to the body of this shadow. So let's head over to JavaScript. Now what we are going to do is just type in document dot add event listener, and the event listener here is going to be click. Then I'm going to add another event right here, and now we're going to add our arrow. Inside this event listener, we're going to use a conditional statement to close the modal whenever we click. It seems there's a problem. This is a problem right here. The if we added, we're going to use this event listener to close the modal whenever we click on this shadow right here. So what I'm going to do with the conditional statement is type in if form container dot class list dot contains show form. Then I'm going to say and input container dot contains event. This actually means if input container does not contain the event dot target. This means that we are making sure that this closes only when we click on the shadow right here, and this won't close whenever we click on any other part of the document. So let's go ahead and continue. And search button, search btn does not contain event dot target. Then what we need to do down here, we're going to call the close modal function. This means that if all these conditions are met, the conditions are that we are going to make sure we are clicking only outside the search modal, and we are clicking on the dark shadow. Then we're going to call the close modal function we already created right here. So let's see if that works. As you can see, it works perfectly. Whenever we click on the shadow, the modal will be closed. But if you click right here to search for something, or click on the links, it won't be closed. Now that is all we need for the modal. Now let's go ahead and toggle the search bar. Whenever we click on this button, our search bar does not work yet. So now to toggle the search bar, we just need to get right down here. And for the search bar, we're also going to define the classes. So the first class we're going to define here is the toggle btn. So let's just type in dot toggle btn, and right in here we don't need the brackets. What we need is equal to document dot query selector, and the class right in here is going to be dot toggle btn. Then next we're going to define the remaining classes. So let's say const, and here we're going to define the close btn. We're going to say equal to document dot query selector, and we're going to have dot close btn. Let's just copy and paste to make this much more faster. Just copy and paste this 3 more times and change the classes. So the third class here is going to be sidebar, and the const is going to be sidebar. Then the third one is going to be shadow overlay. The class is going to be, let's use the shadow overlay class we already created in HTML. So let's say shadow overlay. Then the last one is going to be sidebar text. I don't think we actually need this last one. We don't need it. We don't need the last one because we've already added hide.sidebar text is what it's displaying on. What that does is that whenever we are on this smaller sidebar, the text will disappear. So let's go ahead and continue. Next, I'm going to add an event listener to the sidebar. I want to say sidebar.add event listener, and the event listener here is going to be click. So let's add a function. The function here is going to have an event inside the brackets. Now let's open this up. Then right inside here, inside the event listener, we're going to add event dot stop propagation. Stop propagation. What this means is that whenever we toggle the sidebar and click on it to use any link, other events will not be toggled. So now let's add our toggle btn dot add event listener. Then here we're going to add the event listener. It's going to be click, and we're going to use a function right here. The function here is going to be event. Then right outside here, inside the event listener, we're going to also use stop propagation once more. Let's copy that and paste it. Then we're going to call our open sidebar function. We're going to create this function later on, open sidebar. Now let's create the second function. We don't actually need it. It was supposed to be hide text, but as I said, we already used hide text in CSS. Now let's go ahead and create the function for the open sidebar. Let's push this down. So create a function, and the name is going to be open sidebar. So right inside here in the function, we're going to have sidebar dot class list. Made class list, not categories. Class list dot toggle hide. This means that whenever we click on the button, our sidebar class list is going to become hide, which means the sidebar will be hidden just like this. As you can see, that works perfectly well. This is just what we want for the sidebar. Now let's go ahead and create this close button. Let's see what we have in the smaller screen. As you can see, this does not look very good. What we need to do is bring back our close button. and make this responsive. But let's make this responsive before we go ahead and create the close button. So let's write our media query in CSS before we continue with the remaining part of our JavaScript. So just down here, let's write our media query. Now, what we need for the media query is to target 3 media widths. So we're going to target 3 widths. The first one is going to be media. We're going to have screen. What we need here is screen, and we're going to have a bracket to target the max width. And the max width here is going to be 1300 px. So right in here, we're going to have our media query codes. So we're going to say info card, and inside the info card, we're going to change the grid templates columns. As you can see, it does not look quite nice right here. It looks folded. So what we're going to do is add repeat. We're also going to add autofit to make it responsive. Then we're going to target the min and max width. I'm going to set it to 300. Let's use 300 px 1fr, and that should make it responsive. As you can see, it's now looking great. So next, we're going to target our close button. As you can see, it's invisible for now. So what we need to do is, let's see, we're going to type in dots close btn. We're going to set display to block, and that should make it visible, as you can see. So next, we're going to target the sidebar itself. Let's say sidebar, and for the sidebar in the smaller screen, we want the width to be 280 px. We need to increase this. We're not yet in the smaller screen, so let's increase this up to this extent. This is the iPad, which is what we are still calling for now. And if you guys notice right here, whenever we get to this width, the sidebar closes automatically, and we are going to be able to do that with JavaScript when we are done with the media query. So let's go ahead and continue. So what we're going to do next is target the show shadow. The show shadow is the shadow we have right here. Now we toggle the sidebar, this shadow. So for the shadow, we just need to make it visible right here in the smaller screen. So I will say show shadow. So here I'm going to have display block, and the z index is going to be 10 to make sure it doesn't overlap the sidebar. So next, we're going to type in our nav links. We want to make these nav links invisible in the smaller screen. So I'm going to say nav links, and right inside the nav links, we're going to have display none. And next, we're going to target our hide to make it invisible in this smaller screen. So we're going to say dot hide. In this smaller screen, we're just going to set left to minus 300 px, and that should make it invisible. Let's see. That does not work. What we need to do is complete the hide. If you notice, the hide and the contents works hand in hand. So what we have to do is just type in that hide, and we're going to have dot content, and right in here we're going to set the width to 100% and left to 0. Let's see what that looks like. This does not work yet because our auto close function is not yet available right here. It closes automatically, and if it closes automatically, that should work. But as you can see, it does not close automatically yet. Let's go ahead and continue. When we write the automatic code for the JavaScript, it will look much more better. So what we have to do now is set content, and the content here is going to have width, which is going to be 100%, and left is going to be 0. Then next, I'm going to target our content nav. Let's say dot content nav. And for the content nav, we need to add a box shadow in this smaller screen. So I'm going to say box shadow, and the box shadow here is going to target all sides. I'm going to say 2px, 0px, 10px, and 6px. I'm going to use a variable for our color, and the variable here is going to be box shadow color. Now let's see what that looks like. As you can see, our little shadow is right there. So next, I'm going to target the next media query, which is the last one. So for the next media query, we just need to grab this and change this around, copy that and paste it down here to save time. So let's change the width to 576 px. Let's see if we have px right here. Yes, we do. That is the correct way to use the media query. Now we're going to set the form input. Let's say form input container, and the max width here is going to be 300 px to make the form input smaller. And now we're going to target our show notification. Let's say show dot notification, then comma. We're targeting two classes here. Now we are going to have dot show and dot profile. Then right in here, we're going to set them to display none. Then we're going to target the info cards next. Let's say info cards container, and grid template column here is going to become 1fr. Then next, we're going to target the table. And to target the table, we need multiple classes. We're going to say dot content container, then dot order, and we're going to target the table. We're going to say table, and for the table, we just need to set the mean weight to 420 px, and that is all we need for the media query. Now to add our automatic sidebar, if you notice, the sidebar is not yet automatic, and this does not look nice. Now to target the automatic sidebar, to add the automatic sidebar, we just need to head over to JavaScript and add it right down here. So for the automatic sidebar, all we need is, let's complete the open sidebar first. Let's add our shadow overlay on the open sidebar. Let's say shadow overlay dot class list dot add, and we're going to have show shadow. Then next, we're going to target the toggle btn. Let's say toggle btn dot class list dot rotate, and we're going to, this is supposed to be dot toggle class list dot toggle, and we're going to have rotate right in here. This means that whenever we click on the button, it's going to rotate. This is supposed to be toggle btn, not just toggle. Now let's see if that works. As you can see, it works. That is correct. Next, let's add let's see what we have right here. We're going to add a conditional statement for the automatic sidebar. So just down here, we're going to use our conditional statement if window dot inner width is less than 1300 px. This means that whenever we close our window width below 1300 px, then the conditional statement is going to take place. So let's say if window dot inner width is less than 1300 not px. This is how we write it in JavaScript. We write it as 1300 without the px. So here we're going to have document dot body dot style dot overflow. Let's use overflow y, and we're going to have hidden. Then next, this means that whenever the sidebar is open, just like this in smaller screen, it should also not be possible to scroll right here until we close the sidebar. So let's continue. So I'm going to say hidden. Now let's see if that works. Right here, the automatic sidebar is not yet here. Let's continue to our code, and when we're done, we're going to add our automatic sidebar. So let's add else document. You can just copy and paste this to save time. So just paste this right in here. I'm going to change the overflow to scroll. Now let's create the close sidebar feature. So to create the feature, we just need to create a function right here. Create a function, and the name here is going to be close side. This is going to be close sidebar. And for the close sidebar, we need a bracket. Then inside our function, we're going to have sidebar dot class list dot add hide. Then next, this means that whenever we are on the smaller screen and whenever we click on the close sidebar, whether it's on the document, which is the screen, or the close sidebar button, it's going to toggle this hide class in the sidebar. It's going to become invisible. So next, let's use document.style overflow y, and we're going to set to scroll. This makes sure that whenever the sidebar is closed, it will become possible to scroll on the screen once more. So next, let's target the shadow overlay class list remove, and this means that whenever we close the sidebar, the shadow will also become invisible. So let's type in show shadow. Then next, we're going to add the close sidebar button event listener to be able to toggle this whole function. We're going to say close btn not close sidebar. We're going to say close btn dot add event listener, and the event is going to be click. So right in here, we're going to have our event that says let's use handle. We're going to add a function, not an event. This is going to be handle window click. Then right here, we're going to create our last function. This is not actually the last function. The last function is going to be the automatic sidebar that closes the sidebar automatically whenever we collapse down to the smaller screens. So here I'm going to type in handle window click, and inside the handle window click function, I'm going to set if window dot inner width is less than 1300, then close the sidebar. This actually means that whenever our window width is less than 300 px, let the sidebar become invisible. But that does not work yet because we're not done with the function. Now let's go ahead and create the automatic sidebar function so we can be able to close it whenever we are on the smaller screen, and that will be automatic. So here we're just going to create our last function, and for the last function, the name is going to be sidebar auto close. Then right here inside it, we're going to use our conditional statement once more. The conditional statement here is going to be if window dot inner width is less than 1300, then sidebar dot class list dot add, and we're going to add the hide class, hide the sidebar whenever the window is less than 1300 px. It seems there's an error. This does not work yet, but let's complete the function before. Oh, I already discovered the problem. The problem is that we just created the function. We have not used it on any events yet. So let's complete the function. So next, we're going to add our show shadow function right here. This does not look right. Let's change all occurrences. This is supposed to be shadow overlay, not show shadow. So let's just type in shadow overlay, and that is correct. Let's make sure that works. As you can see, it works. Now let's continue. So the next thing we want to do is to create our else. This means that this other event is going to take place if window.inner width is not less than 1300. So I'm going to say sidebar dot class list dot remove, and it's going to be hide. This means that whenever our window is above 1300 px, the sidebar will become visible once more. So next, we're going to add the event listener to the window, so we'll be able to close the sidebar automatically. So we're going to say window dot add event listener. We need two event listeners. The first one is going to be DOM contents loaded. So let's use DOM contents loaded. This means that this event will only take place whenever we reload our website. So let's add our arrow function. So right in here, we're going to say sidebar auto close, which is a function we've not yet created. Now let's create it. Sorry, we've already created it. That should work. This means that when I reload, it will hide the sidebar whenever we're on this smaller screen. But now let's add the resize event to make sure that happens. Let's type in window dot add event listener, and this time around it's going to be a resize event, which means that whenever we resize the website by closing it like this sidebar will become invisible. Now let's add the arrow function, and right in here in the arrow function, we're just going to add our sidebar as a close function, and we need some other functions too. The next we don't need functions, we need our last conditional statement, which is going to be if window dot inner width is greater than or equal to 1300, then let window dot remove event listener, and we're going to be removing the handle window click. So let's say click, we're going to add handle window click, and here we're going to add document dot body dot scroll. This means that whenever the sidebar auto close is removed, we will be able to scroll once more. So let's see body dot style dot overflow y, and we're going to set it back to scroll. Then next, let's add our else. We're going to say else if window, sorry, not if, we're going to say window dot add event listener, and it's going to be click. We're going to set handle window click. Now that should do it for our automatic sidebar. As you can see, it works perfectly. The sidebar closes whenever we're on the smaller screen. This is just what we want for the sidebar. Now let's see. It seems there's a problem with the sidebar. We need the sidebar to be on top of the shadow, not under the shadow. So let's see what the problem is. I think our problem here is a mix of JavaScript and CSS problem. So let's see what they are. Right here in JavaScript, I added close btn that add event listener instead of window. This right here is supposed to be window. You are supposed to add the event listener to the window, not the close btn. And right down here, I added, let's look for our scroll. Right here, I added scroll instead of scroll, so change this to scroll. And right here, we're supposed to have documents.body. This is for the shadow and the scroll feature. So here we're going to have documents.body instead of documents.style. So we're going to have documents.body, and that should fix the scroll error. And now for this error where the shadow overlaps the sidebar, all you have to do is head over to CSS, search for the sidebar right here. Now search for the sidebar in the search bar by using Ctrl F. When you use Ctrl F, the sidebar will appear, and search for the sidebar. And right here, we're going to change the Z index to 120. Now let's see what that looks like. As you can see, this now looks perfectly fine. Now we can close the sidebar by clicking on this button right here, or by clicking on the window. Now let's see, this is for the window and this is for the button. It does not seem like the button works yet. Let's see what the problem is. Let's search for the button. So the problem is right here. Right after the close sidebar, we have to create an event listener for our button. So I'm going to have close btn dot add event listener, and event here is going to be click for the button. Let's add click, and we're going to add our function right here. Actually, let's use an arrow function instead of a normal function. So right here, we're going to say close sidebar. I'm just going to call the sidebar function, and that should work. Now let's see what that looks like. And as you can see, we're now able to close the sidebar by clicking on the sidebar button, and our website is now responsive. As you can see, this looks beautiful. Dark mode works. This is the dark mode, and our active feature also works. But it seems there is one more error right here. The error is whenever we close the sidebar, everything looks folded together right here, and that is not how it's supposed to be. To fix this, we just need to search for the order, search for dot order, and in dot order, we're looking for dot order, not just this order. Let's find it right here. Change flex basis to 600. Flex basis here is supposed to be 600, and that should fix it. As you can see, it now looks much more better. Then next, we need to fix this button. If you notice, the icon is not at the center of our button. What we need to do is find the logo icon container, find the logo container, and look for the icon. This is it right here. You just need to add justify content, and it's going to be center. That should fix it. As you can see, the icon is now at the center of our button. Now that works perfectly. This is all we need for the website, and that brings us to the end of the project. If you really enjoyed the project, don't forget to like and subscribe. And if you have any question, don't hesitate to ask in the comment section below. See you guys in the next project. Goodbye.